Now it's Brendan because we're recording. Okay, so that if any of y'all missed this stream, I'll upload it later to Twitch, and I think even then it's available temporarily. But yeah, so I haven't talked to him like for real since April
when we did the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Which still isn't out yet.
Will be released within the next month. I just have to edit the last few ones and put those out.
It was long as shit though, so.
And Andy's was like 2 hours. So,
Ours
but people listen. People listen to it.
I did.
So.
The whole thing.
Okay. So I'm sure you came ready.
Actually, as a matter of fact.
You got notes?
Always got notes. Mental notes.
That's what's up.
Basically, man, everything is happening for me.
You said that.
And like when I say everything, I mean like everything. But it's not happening to me.
It's happening
for me. Because like a lot of it is direct, but a lot of it is indirect. So it's like a lot of things are happening like hyperbolic chamber was insane. And you guys know what that is. Jeff just like opened my eyes to lots and lots of things. Or helped me open my own eyes is a better way to put it.
Okay.
Like physically, mentally, spiritually, just helped me a lot. And helped me dance wise, like training. So it was just very enlightening, but also very challenging, which I appreciate. I notice you. What about it? Say something noticeable and I'll notice you.
Sarah. Oh, I pinned that comment. Yep, you do, broski. Josh and Sarah are in here. So
yeah, they're waiting for the info on my video.
I see.
Which will come later. But so yeah, man, I got a video coming out tonight. I got my passport came in over the weekend.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm going to Canada October 27th.
Okay.
So like, it's going to be my first time outside the country ever.
That's sick.
By myself too, which
You're
is
going
like,
by yourself,
which is crazy.
Oh, shoot. Did you already plan out stuff?
No.
Okay.
I have to message a woman that Jeff actually brought down to teach. Jade. I really connected with her on like so many kinds of levels. And I'm going to see if I can stay with her for the night, because I'm only going for a day. Because EM auditions are that Sunday. So it's going to be a long weekend.
That's crazy.
I'm going up for an event, which is all night. And then I'm going to drive home, go to work, try and sleep a little bit if I have time, and then go to EM auditions. So it's gonna be crazy.
Oh yeah, I'm probably gonna be at EM auditions too.
Hey, October 28th, Suzanne's Dance Connection. Be there or miss out, because it's gonna be lit. It's gonna be crazy. I think that is the first time I've ever said lit seriously in my entire life as that sort of adjective.
I think that's true.
Ugh.
I don't think you ever say that.
I don't. But I just did. What's happening? Yeah, man, just everything is happening for me, and I'm just like, it's crazy, it's overwhelming. But like, I'm super excited. I'm teaching 21 classes this year.
That's wild.
At 8 different studios.
So are you pretty much like full time, or are you still doing another?
21 hours. So that's part time still technically, but I work more hours teaching than I do at my regular job, which is crazy to me because that's what I want to do with my life.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's insane. Originally, it was 9 studios with 26 classes.
Oh shit!
But
was that like a lot or just not possible?
No one signed up.
Oh, okay.
So I dropped a whole studio.
Oh.
Because I was like, well, I drove all the way to Stoughton, so
that's so messed up.
For literally no one. And she was like, I can't even afford to pay you. I'm so sorry.
Dude,
I was like,
that's so bad.
I was like, no, it's fine, but it's not technically your fault, I guess. But like, you're just bad at marketing. So
you're just bad at marketing, woman.
She is. She didn't like advertise it at all, and I was like, you're starting a hip hop program, but you don't advertise it. That makes no sense. That makes no sense at all. But yeah, man, it's crazy. Cause I started out last year in September. I started out teaching 3 classes at one studio.
3 classes at one studio.
Yeah, and this year I have 21 classes at 8 different studios.
That's a success story, man.
It's crazy to me, but like,
as long as you grow.
I'm still not where I want to be though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the problems with it though, I have problems with it because
okay, we're good.
The problems that I have with teaching what I am teaching, where I am teaching, is that I don't get challenged enough as a teacher by my students. Because a lot of my students don't want to learn in depth. They want to learn, like, they want to scratch the surface of things.
Oh yeah, that's everyone's struggle.
And I'm like, nah, I want to teach
that real shit, bro.
I want to teach things that matter to me. I don't want to just be like, yeah, let's hop around for an hour. Like,
some teachers be doing that, bro.
Fucks with my head, man. But the problem that I have is that a lot of studios are looking for that. They want to just have you tire the kids out, basically, before you throw them back to their parents. And I'm like, nah, I want to teach these kids some things, like, actually. And over the summer, I taught intensives all over the place. There was even one down in Connecticut, which was mind-blowing to me. The fact that someone even, like, heard of me down that far. I was like, wait, what? But actually, I don't think I told anybody about that. Well, if you don't know now, you know. And just like the craziness of it, I taught down there a piece that was very close to my heart by it told a little piece of my story. And the song was Lovely by Billie Eilish and Khalid. If you guys know that song. If you don't, look it up. It's beautiful. But it was a hip-hop piece. Well, hip-hop contemporary fusion thingy. And the kids loved it. Because they're like 14. They're like going through some struggles and stuff right now. And it's just really connected to them very well. And I was like, wow, this is great. This is why I teach. Like, these are the moments that I live for. Yes, that song. Those were the moments that I want, like, all the time as a teacher. I mean, I know I'm not gonna get it like every class. They're like, we connect on soul levels, but like, I want more of that. And a lot of studios don't want that. They're just like, yeah, throw some choreography at them, you know, keep them warm, like tire them out, and then send them home. And I'm like, but they're not learning anything. It's like, well, they're learning how to dance. It's like, no, they're learning moves. Like, I can teach you a million moves, but that doesn't mean you know how to dance.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dance comes from your heart. It comes from your soul. Like, just because you know how to pop doesn't make you a popper. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because you know jabs and arm swing doesn't make you a crumper. Like, because I know people that know elements of so many different styles, but they're like, yeah, but I'm not a dancer. And I'm like, why not? You know all these things. And they're like, I just don't feel it. I'm like, okay, that makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know? But, like, that's what I want to teach. But I don't get enough opportunity to challenge myself in that aspect specifically. And I know there's going to be those people that are, oh, you don't get handed opportunity, you have to find it. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm also not ready to create those opportunities for myself.
Interesting.
I'm not in a spot where I can say, you know, yeah, come out to my class, $5, blah, 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 and people will actually show up.
Yeah, you never know.
No, I do know that because I tried it. And no one showed up.
People suck.
And I guarantee you didn't even hear about it.
I do my classes for free. No, I didn't hear about it.
Exactly. That's my point.
I could teach you because I know that shit. Been studying the shit out of that.
But I know how my mind works, and I'm studying too many different things right now to take another one on, especially on that caliber that I need to study it at. You know what I mean? So it's a process, and I'm still in the early stages of that process. But
please tell me that's not me. My madres.
who is it?
My mom.
Oh, is she not home?
No, I don't think so. I'm just gonna text her.
Okay. Well, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I'm still in the early stages of that process. So as that process evolves, I'll be coming to different people that I know, being like, teach me things. But I'll also be bringing things to them that maybe they don't know, or maybe pushes them to
I know that feeling.
to drive harder.
I know that feeling right there. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I can give you a little something about that.
Feel free to speak. Like, this isn't just me.
Yeah.
So you can talk. You do exist in this plane, for the most part. Time so fast.
So you talked about creating opportunity. You talked about bringing stuff to other people. Do you just think it's like you just want to be in a position to exchange by the time you reach certain people? Like, you don't want to just go and be like, hey, help me.
Yeah. I feel like I'm not in a spot yet where I have enough to offer people.
Okay, so I can give you a perspective, an interesting one on that. It doesn't make me right or anything. A lot of the things I say, I'm always like, it's not right or wrong. So I felt like that for a long time, and I recognize that there were I guess there are some levels of consequences to that I didn't recognize early enough. I could say this was like I've been feeling this for a while, and I didn't figure it out until earlier this year. But you might not feel, maybe you don't, but you may not feel good enough at some points. I did without realizing that, and that would also stop me from establishing connections with people I felt like I should be establishing them with. And it was more intuitive than it was career. It's just that the intuitive lined up with the career. So what I mean is, like, there are certain people like, oh, like that person's dope and this person is dope. And I'll get to them, like, after I figure out my stuff. I might have said this to you at some point. But, like, I don't know when that time would come for myself. And I would face a lot of different obstacles in my world that, in some ways, I felt like could be avoided. Not that that's important, but I felt like I could have worked with more competent people instead of, and I'm kind of like selling myself short of that, even if I felt like I didn't have anything directly to bring to the table. So let's say an example would be Mike, which you've done work with Mike. I'm like, oh yeah, like I don't got my own business and I don't feel like I could do anything, right? Because he's already got things going on, so there's no way I could bring anything of use to the table for him. So like, why would I even bother, right? But then I realized eventually that like that's just myself in my head. That doesn't make sense. It does in one way, but from another aspect, I keep being reminded that like before skill sets and like offering something is just being a friend. Like that, being present and being a friend is probably the two most underrated and most powerful things you can offer to anyone. It could be someone huge like in Eastwood, right? And be like, well, I have nothing to offer you because you're set, right? And you might think that way. But then it's like let me just be a good person because we all deserve to have that. And I'll just be whatever you need, and if I could be there for you and listen, whatever, that's it. Like that's the highest form of giving, I think personally, that I've come to find, versus like I need to have this skill unlocked and this skill before I could even work with you because I don't
have
feel
enough
like
skill points yet.
Yeah, so like that switched for me. And then when I started living that way, I was like, whoa, this is so cool. So it was less about me bringing something tangible to the table and instead being like just listening and feeling out the energy and being like, wow, people don't do that. Like they don't really do that. I learned that more so on Instagram. I have a mini rant about that, but I don't have to get into that. But yeah, so that's a perspective where you don't necessarily have to have stuff to bring. Just being you really is enough. Yeah. And if you can offer listening, just being there, dude, that is way more valuable than all the other stuff. I can tell you that much.
I think that's part of it. So I would agree on a good majority of that. But
that's me.
I think when I'm talking about my career, and trying to further that, I think most people, when it comes to their work and what they love and what they do for a living, I think a lot of people don't, I don't want to say don't associate, but I don't have a better word. Don't associate with people that aren't going to further their career.
So you said you don't? Is that what you said?
I don't want.
You don't associate? Is that what
No,
you said?
I feel like a lot of people, when they're focused on their career or they're thinking about their career, don't associate with people that won't further their career necessarily, or that they don't think would. Like, I've applied for choreographer spots for things. And I was contacted by one of the people that ran the audition or whatever you want to call it. And basically all you had to do was go in, present a piece that you had done. It was like 30 seconds of choreography, just so that they could see like what you can do. And one of the people contacted me and was like, hey, you have good choreography, but you don't have enough drive.
Someone said that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, I messaged them back. I was like, can you just like explain more? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not arguing with you. I literally just want to know more in depth what you mean because I don't understand what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And they messaged me again and was like, I feel like you would have better choreography if you challenged yourself to have better choreography.
Okay.
And I was like,
fair.
Okay, that's a fair point. And then I realized after the fact, but I made excuses and I was like, yeah, well, I don't have opportunities to challenge myself on choreography and blah, blah, blah. And I sent the message and I went, shit. Oh, those were all excuses, and I feel terrible now. And then I like a few minutes later, I was like, those were excuses. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to complain and things like that. And they messaged me back and they were like, keep pushing. And I was like, damn. I don't know why, but it hit me hard. And then all these things started popping up for me because it clicked in my head, and I was like, you're right. I'm not pushing myself as a choreographer. You know, I'm not being like, hey, if you need choreography, let me know. Or like, I'm not pushing myself even to challenge my students sometimes because they walk in knowing that I'm going to cater to them if that's how I perceive them. And this year I'm doing something totally different, which is going to be interesting because like I might lose classes and students and studios.
I see.
Which is fine. Like, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Because if it's going to further me, then, and you don't want to be a part of that, then that's up to you. But every class that I walk in now, I'm looking to challenge myself and my students. And I think as a teacher, I think that's a better mentality than the one that I had before, which was, yeah, I'm going to get this done, get some experience, get some money so I can survive. And I was like, nah, I can survive on 6 classes.
Yeah.
With the bills that I have right now, with no job on top of that. I can survive on 6 classes.
That's pretty good.
That's bills, food, and phone.
Okay.
I can survive on that. So with that, I was like, I have 21 classes. And then I looked at myself and what the fuck am I doing with all this extra money? And then I thought about it. I was like, okay, gas. A lot of the things that I go to require gas. So there's that. Driving people home is a big, big one because people that live like in Boston and stuff like that, and they're up here, and I'm like, hey, do you have a ride? And they're like, no, I'm going to take the train. And I'm like, I got you. I'll drive you home. It's like, I'm spending probably close to what they would pay for in the train in gas. And I'm like, yeah, but I enjoy doing that, though.
Yeah.
So it's more of like a, is it worth spending the money?
Yeah.
Or is it just, am I just like throwing it out there just to get something, you know? Look at the no. I will not look at the phone just because you said that.
Don't beat yourself up, girl. That's a waste of time. If I'm telling you anything, don't beat yourself up over stuff. It's a complete waste of time. Hold yourself accountable. Beating yourself up doesn't do anything.
I'm literally so confused. I have to go back and read all these.
That's why I'm like trying to keep up with both. The difference between podcasting and streaming.
Yeah, literally though.
Sexy beast. Hello, Kevin. Let me know when you're ready, man. Still got that line.
Teach you what? Teach me is not helping.
I don't know, but they probably dance stuff. I pinned it.
See, pay attention and you would know.
Cut my hair.
Come Come on. Alright, so I'm having serious issues keeping up with the comments. I'm not gonna lie, because I'm just talking. Yeah, I'm not reading.
It's all good.
But teach you what? Like, teach me is not helpful. Teach me. That's like if I walked up to Vatana and I was like, teach me, he'd be like, teach you what? What do you want me to teach you? I mean, I got all these things. Which one? What do you want?
Yeah.
I'd be like, nah, teach me. You'd be like, 2 + 2 is 4. I don't know. I don't know what you want me to teach you. Also, the slight delay in the video,
that's always gonna be a thing,
is also making it hard for me to keep up with the comments, because you're like, yeah, me too, and I'm like, you too what? Explanation is beautiful. Anyways, I need to challenge myself, and I encourage people to challenge me. So, challenge me.
Sure.
Peeps.
Marna said, Brendan, what are your biggest pet peeves of yourself and your students?
In class, I would say probably the fact that I get lazy when they get lazy.
Oh, fuck.
Like, if they don't want to do anything that day, it makes me not want to do anything that day.
I feel that.
Because, like, if they walk in being like, I'm tired, I don't want to learn anything today, you know, I'm going to be like, well, shit, now I don't want to teach. Because now you just discouraged me from wanting to teach, and I had this piece all set up, and I was ready, and now you guys don't even want to learn it. Frustrating. Super frustrating. I think I also tend to repeat a lot of things, like when it comes to warm-ups and teaching certain moves and stuff like that. I tend to teach waves like every other week.
Mm-hmm. I don't think that's bad. I mean, can you imagine how many times a kid has to plie or do tendus? You know what I mean? Like, that technique is fine.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's repetitive for me, because I'll do it. I'll forget what classes I do things in.
Yeah.
So I'll be like, all right, guys, let's learn this. And they're like, we learned this last week. And I was like, oh, snap. My bad. All right. And then I have to, like, switch up my plans, which is why I stopped making plans for classes.
Yeah.
Because I used to plan out what I was going to do in my classes every week. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, I don't know who's going to be there. I don't know, what they're going to be feeling like. I was like, I'll just roll with stuff. I think probably my biggest pet peeves would be laziness. Just in general.
That's the perfect time to challenge yourself.
Exactly.
Like, especially when my students are tired, those are the moments right there that I get into my modes, and I'm like,
all right, we about to work.
You think you tired?
I'll make you tired.
No, that's when I get into, I don't even talk about, like, I won't always necessarily compare and bring other circumstances in. Mm-hmm. I might sprinkle in a little bit of that sometimes. But I try to remind them that, like, I always show up and give as much as I can. And then
rule number 1, try.
The biggest thing I talk about is, like, what was I about to get into? Like privilege, like a privilege check. I'll do that in different ways. And just taking things for granted. So I try to snap people out of that. And usually, when I take a moment to just speak, everyone does not complain about anything. I'm like, good. But then I reinforce that with, like, basic stuff, like encouragement and getting hyped over nothing. So, like, random. Yeah, it helps. Like, because you have to remember that, like, I can get serious with my kids, but it always really helps when we still have those, like, little elements of, like, you did a great job. Like, those things. It, like, makes a huge difference. I forget that they're that young and it means that much to them. Yeah. So when you just can find that perfect balance, it works.
I feel like it doesn't really matter what age they are.
Yeah.
When it comes to that, I mean, I think everyone, even if you're not seeking validation, I feel like it's always good to hear, hey, you're doing good. regardless of what you are doing. You know what I mean? Like, in the hyperbolic chamber, the last session on Saturday, Jeff gave us all critiques. And he said, I don't remember his exact words, but he said basically that he had seen me improve the greatest he's ever seen me improve in a month. And he's known me for like 4 years. And I wasn't looking for that. Like, that's not why I was there.
Yeah, of course.
But hearing someone, you know, that I look up to so much and that I care about deeply say something like that to me really hit me in the heart. And I was like, shit, so I am doing something right.
Yeah.
You know, or I am doing these things well. You know, well enough that he recognized it. Mm-hmm. And it's not even like oh, yeah, that's right, like, I'm good. It's like, no, I'm still pretty much trash. But, like, it was encouraging to hear, hey, you're going in the right direction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not necessarily like, yeah, you the best now. Like, no, but you're on the way. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I see comments popping up. Yes, I do teach choreography that helps them work on certain things. YouTube, Sarah. Use YouTube. Come on. Your Twitch is down.
I don't think so. I see people on it.
If you guys are going to have a personal conversation, have a personal conversation elsewhere. Josh and Sarah, I don't need to try and keep up with that. Check.
It's still up.
Kevin, you're lying.
Yeah, you're lying.
Oh, let's tell you. I'm so mad. Kevin, get out of here with twerking comment. I'm so mad.
You can keep going. I just sometimes have to.
I get lost in intrigue sometimes. I just get so intrigued with what people are doing that I just like stop doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Are you like restarting it or something?
No, it's still going. I'm just changing the title.
Oh.
God.
Kevin, you're a liar. I'm just saying.
Says, as I could see, you are working very hard for your life grind, but since it's life, things will happen and negatively impact your motivation, like how your stiffen says, I don't want to, students, I don't want to do anything. How do you get over these bumps in the road and rekindle your fire? Oh, we can both answer that shit.
Oh, yes we can. And I have a feeling we both have very different answers to that.
You can go.
How I try to get over that is I try to make things fun. So I try and basically do the things that I had wanted to do with them, but I try and twist it. So I'll like try and make it into a game, or be like, look, we don't get to do this until we do this. Like with my little ones especially, I'll say, you know, we don't get to play the game until you put in the work. Because that's how life works. You know, you don't get to enjoy something until you put in the work to get it. You know, so things like that is the way I try and get around things. And for myself, it's more of a, if you don't do it, nothing good's gonna come out. So I'm sitting here like, you know, if I don't go do this live stream with Fatana, I'm not gonna feel very good tonight. And he's gonna be like texting me, being like, hey, where are you? Are you coming? What's going on? I'm gonna be like, nah, I don't want to do that. And it's more of, I don't want to let other people down. Not in a way of like, oh, you know, it's not like an ego thing.
Mm.
It's more of if I can help people, why wouldn't I do that? You know? Like, if I have the power to help someone, why would I sit here and be like, nah, there's no reason. So, I'm gonna help people.
Yeah. Pretty easy. Yeah. So my favorite thing when it comes to overall motivation and fire and the rekindle of things, it's have a vision or vision board. Okay? So when we meditate and stuff, right, and you come into the class and I'll be like, why are you here and stuff. So for me, I never forget why I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And as long as I don't forget, then there's nothing, it's not that difficult. So if a student or whatever, lots of things just aren't working out, the most important thing is that I have a certain amount of time with them and I know why I'm there. And it's to help people become better versions of themselves. It's very simple, right? So I can't really be deterred from that. It hasn't happened because I'm very aware of what happens when like you're not working on bringing yourself into a place of peace. I'm not even gonna say striving to be better necessarily, but when I look at my students and I'm able to quickly identify that they're dealing with something that they haven't figured out yet, and so I try to instill certain values into them, and that's really important. So I never forget that. That's why I don't really struggle with the bumps in the roads and the rekindle of the fire. I might change paths and courses a lot, but the vision's still the same. So that never goes away. And so if you don't have that for yourself, I suggest you try and find that. Because once you find it, man, you can't stop.
Once you know your why, everything falls into place.
Yeah, it gets so much better.
The road starts getting laid out for you. Even if you can't see
Yeah.
a mile down the road, even if you can't see, 2 steps in front of you,
Yeah.
as long as you take that one, it's life happens, man. Life happens for you, and it just, once you start the journey, you'll start to figure things out. But if you sit in the same spot, even if it's a day, a year, whatever, as long as you're staying in the same spot, you're moving backwards. The road's only gonna get longer. So I would say, even if you don't know what to do something. Start moving. Like, if you want, Tony Robbins has a great podcast about this. He says something along the lines of, again, I'm paraphrasing, but he says something like, if you want to get a better body, start moving. Don't wait for the perfect trainer. Don't wait for the right time. Don't wait for great weather. Go out and move and get momentum. And then, then you can start to figure things out. But you can't figure everything out and then go. Because something's going to get thrown at you that you did not see coming. Something, loss of a family member, loss of a loved one, your car's going to break down or something. Like, my car's broken down 3 times on the way to work or on the way to class. And I'm like, what the hell am I going to do? On the way to teach down in Stoughton, I was on 95, middle of rush hour traffic. My power steering went. And I was like, I'm in the middle lane. What do I do? And I called her and I was like, hey, I'm still coming, but I'm going to be late because I have no power steering. She was like, oh my goodness, be safe, take your time, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, but I'm still coming. You know, things are going to get thrown at you. Things are going to happen to you, but you can't stop moving forward. No matter where you are, no matter what it is, no matter, no matter what it affects, you can't stop moving forward. And I talked about this in the podcast that we did. Mm-hmm. I don't care how slow you move, as long as you don't stop. You could be crawling with your fingernail. That's still moving, though. That's still moving forward.
Yes.
And, some people are like, I told these things to some people, and they're like, yeah, well, sometimes you need to take a step back and review. And I'm like, that's true. But that usually means that you're moving in the wrong direction. Or it means that, you want to be moving in a certain direction, but you're moving like parallel to it. So you're not in the lane that you want to be in, but you're next to it. And sometimes that means taking a step back and reevaluating your life, but that's moving forward. That's moving towards the goal that you want to be at, the goal that you want to reach. So I think, again, another thing that we talked about that is still true for me is that I don't feel bad for people anymore. I don't listen, and that's not true. I listen, but I don't take to heart when people complain or when they make excuses. And I still do it sometimes. I still make excuses, and I still, try to chime into things that are not my business, and I do, and I'll admit that because I'm human. I'm not perfect, but I'm trying not to, and I'm aware of when I do it. Like, I'll make an excuse, and I'll be like, no, I'm sorry. I'm making excuses. That's not your fault. That's not your problem. I'm gonna shut up now. And people acknowledge and respect that. At least the ones that I've encountered. They'll sit there and they'll be like, wow, this dude was 45 minutes late because he got in a car accident, but like, he's not making excuses about it. And that's a true story. I was in a car accident. Someone T-boned me on a bicycle, which I didn't think was possible. But they slammed into the side of my car on a bike, and I was 45 minutes late to a class that was an hour and 15 minutes long. And I showed up, and I immediately started teaching. I wasn't like, hey guys, I'm sorry, I'm super late. Nope. I walked in, my speaker was on, my music was playing. I was like, let's learn. And the director came over to me and was like dumbfounded. She was like, I'm so surprised that you walked in. Like, you didn't apologize that you were late. Like, it was great. And I was like, I don't know. I just didn't want to make excuses.
There's your answer.
That was super long.
I don't know, it's all good.
But
Josh did say something, so that was dope. That's good.
Talks about fapping sometimes.
And that's what makes you a better person, admitting your flaws. Hell yeah. Alright, so Josh asked, I'm starting a dance class soon at the boxing gym I go to. What would be the best advice to expand the class? So it depends on, there's so many different elements when you say expand the class. So like, what do you mean? Like, you want to get more people to go? So are you trying to improve the marketing, get like different, like specific age groups, or offer different what different elements to offer in the class? So like, it depends. There's like an order of how to do things, and it's knowing your service or product or brand first.
Knowing what you can offer.
Yeah, so like we could start with that, and then once you know what that is, and then start focusing on the marketing after.
Marketing's huge, especially for a dance class.
Huge underrated part that I've learned that everyone is complete trash at. Most people in today's age is really bad because they don't get it.
Basically.
Find that purpose, bro. Well, it's in there.
You can start with this one.
Yeah, so, okay, you start small. Like, I'm just kidding. It says, I want more people to be interested, and I want people to be able to trust me as a teacher and learn from me what I have to teach. Understood. So that takes time and credibility.
It's not something you can just be like, yeah, trust me. Doesn't work that way.
So there are two methods. One is more shallow than the other, but you use both and it's great. So the most important element is that focus on quality and not quantity. Like that's extremely, extremely important. And the most overlooked, and you might get really impatient and might think you're a failure because you have like one student. It's like, that's not really how it works. You have to make sure that what you're bringing to the table is really valuable. Even if it's one person like your wife or two people, whatever, right? And here and there, you can, talk about like, make sure you let people know about this class so that, it could expand. So word of mouth is really powerful. So get really confident in your craft and make sure it's dope. So it's not about getting a ton of people, but it's about getting the people who do go there to come back. Even if it starts small. So do that first. And then when you're like, okay, like I really like what I'm doing and I think it's important and it's good, then you would then start focusing more so on getting the marketing and stuff out there, which I can go really in depth with and I could teach you how to do that. I'm not an expert, but I do know a lot more things than most people. Including people who went to school for it, because it's a little outdated out there. The information is a little old, and I have the more modern information that you could use to get people to get to your classes. What catches... Oh, you have two students. Ask what's up. What catches most people's attention based on your experience? In real life, it's about making a connection. On the internet, it's the same thing. But in order to get people's attention on the internet, you have to just be good at content creation and then at marketing. So those are other layers and elements that also require some skill. And you have to leverage your network and the people that already enjoy your class. And again, I'm keeping it really basic right now because I could go super in, but
I would say,
yeah, I'm keeping it pretty basic.
I would say definitely. I would say it's one thing to teach for you, but it's another thing to teach for your students. And they're going to notice. Like if you're there for yourself, I'm sure, we've all been in that class that teacher is like, yeah, I'm going to go off. At the end of this, I'm going to get a solo in. I'm going to post it all over Instagram. And you're sitting there like, I just want to learn, bro. There was a big debate about this actually recently about... I believe it was Millennium.
Dude, this debate will never end.
I know,
because it's been around.
But it was a recent big names were talking about this.
That did that.
That every class there was a student was doing a solo.
Yeah.
And it was and they were recording it and putting special effects and I was like, what the hell? I was like, when did class become about showcasing?
Yeah.
I thought it was about learning. And, if a student is really there to learn and something like that happens, they're probably not going to go back to that class. Realistically. I mean, I wouldn't. Like, if I walk into a class being like, oh yeah, I'm going to learn so much, and then I'm sitting there for 4 minutes while, somebody's doing a solo and, like, they're making it into, like, a video shoot, I'm not going back to that class.
Yeah.
I mean, that's me. Some people might.
Yeah,
some people would be like, that was awesome. Like, I get to see how all this works. And, if that's your thing, that's your thing. But I would say be there for the students. Really tune into what they want and what they're looking for. And if you can't offer that, I would say be honest and say, I can't give you that, but I know someone who can. Or I can't do that right now, but I'll learn how to do that. And we'll get there, I would say give them a baseline, give them a foundation, and then build from there with what they want to learn as opposed to what you want to teach. Because sometimes they will coincide, but oftentimes they won't, especially if it's beginner level. Because I know a lot of times people are like, yeah, I'm going to teach this wicked, intense, like, high-level choreography to, like, a beginner class. And I'm like, whoa, hold on. I mean, I've done it, too. I've done it. I do it sometimes still. And I'm just like, I really just want to teach this piece, but, like, it's something I would teach to, like, my friends, and they would get it. Maybe. Like, even the choreography in my video that's coming out within the night. That was stupid. The choreography was not difficult. But it was something that a lot of the people in the video had never done before. They'd never been like, oh yeah, house. I know how to house. They were like, what? We're doing house? What do you mean? So it's one of those things that you have to teach people what they want to learn, or else they're not going to enjoy it, usually. Sometimes people walk into a class going, I have no clue what I want to learn. And you teach them something, and they're like, that was really fun. I want to learn more of that. Or they're like, it wasn't for me. It's all about finding that balance, especially when you have more than one student. Because having one student is like, yeah, this is what I want to learn, or like, I don't know what I want to learn, so teach me something. But when you have more than one student and they don't coincide, like they want to learn different things, it's difficult. It becomes difficult.
Right. I'm gonna also give my 2 cents, some more technical teaching questions. Alright, so I'm gonna paint a little visual for you, my guy, because I feel like I know where you're coming from internally, and you're trying to make it a grind and a hustle for sure, right? So therefore you're probably going to think of it that way. So you have to remember that when you teach, it's because you have something that you can offer and that you see as important and that you want for other people. Some people just teaching shit for the sake of teaching shit, and I've been there. Like, that's a place to start, and then but you kind of, some people evolve into the thing that they want to become eventually.
Definitely.
But for myself, like when Brendan talked about, people are just kind of there for themselves and not teaching the students really for them. It should be like this little basic map is that you have stuff. It could be choreography. It could be, you know, technical things, anything that you feel like involves dance or maybe life, combine the two. Then there's the student. Everyone learns differently, so there's information that you need to get into the mind and the body of this person. But what usually gets in the way of that direct, simple connection, like you don't just show choreography and they pick it up because they have the Sharingan, you know what I mean? So like it doesn't work that way. So
some people do though. Because
it doesn't necessarily work that way for most people, that wall and that personal like barrier of things, part of it being like we're human and we're not that capable and that crazy good right away. And the other thing being personal like walls and faults that people have. So when I'm trying to teach stuff to some of my students and the first thing I see is low self-esteem, it doesn't matter what kind of material I throw at them. The level that they're going to perform it at is going to be really low, and they won't fully grasp it because while they're trying to pick it up, they're like, I can't do this, I don't look cool, everyone else is so much better than me, like why does he look like that, I look mad dumb. So that's literally what's going on in the mind of some people while you're giving them information.
Truth.
That is gold sometimes,
Truth.
So beyond like, okay, I'm trying to get this information in your body, you have to tune into each student. It's a very intuitive thing. You start recognizing it by the way that they move and communicate, and their facial expressions, where they stand in the room and all that stuff. If they look on the ground a lot, if you call on them, how do they react to criticism and stuff. So beyond information and giving, there's studying people and learning how to strip down those walls. So if you notice that someone has low self-esteem, all the things, you're going to probably stray from teaching a combo or certain moves, and like maybe you're going to walk up to them one-on-one and start explaining things and breaking it down, or you're just going to generalize and be like, okay, we're going to work on this one move because I see that some of y'all are struggling with it, and that's okay, and that move might take a few minutes. So when Brendan talked about having a plan and like making sure it's like this, or just being prepared for all these things that you don't know what's going to happen, that's pretty much what the class is like. Because there's going to be all these random problems that come in the way that sometimes don't necessarily present itself because you have to be aware of them. So really pay attention to your students and their needs and what's going on with them. If you need to do certain exercises to break the ice, you're like, maybe they're uncomfortable, so like let's do something like, let's do trust falls, or let's do some like eye contact stuff, or do some across the floors. You get to really understand how people move and their mindset. So like then you really start becoming a better teacher, because like a lot of teachers don't pay attention to those elements. They just come in with a piece or something and they give zero feedback, and they only pay attention to the ones who are really good. So like, don't be that. If you want to be a good teacher, pay attention to each student and see even if it's just one person who's like messing up terribly but everyone else is okay, you can focus on like, they're not understanding what I'm asking. Why? You can ask them, you can bring up certain questions, or you could assume like, okay, that's the face of self-doubt, let's work on self-doubt I have this one exercise that I do, or like, let's have everyone hug each other or do like an improv or something to just get them going. So that is a really important element.
Piggybacking off that, I would say use things that you learn. Like Josh, talking to you specifically, use things that we did in hyperbolic chamber, man. Like all of those exercises and things, like you don't necessarily have to do it that same way that we did it. Like you don't have to do, arms out for like 10.5 minutes, but like you can be like, all right guys, we're gonna do some arms, and then you can do this for like a minute or two and see like where people are at level wise. And you can also switch things up a little bit, like you don't have to sit in what you learned and like that's how it is. It's like it's in this little box and that has how it is, that's how it's supposed to be. You could be like, oh, we did a mirror exercise, but I don't like the way that we did it because it's not going to fit these students, so I'm going to change it. I'm going to tweak it a little bit to make it fit them better. And I think that is a very important part of teaching different classes, because if you teach the same class every time, people are going to go once or twice and be like, it's the same thing. Whether or not you're teaching different things is kind of irrelevant. If you teach the same, if you focus on the same things every time, it's going to be like, okay, we're focusing on self-doubt today. Cool. This is great. I need to work on this. Next week, come in, work on self-doubt. It's like, okay, I improved on this a little. Let me show you. Next week, I'm working on self-doubt. It's like, all right, can we work on something else though? Like, I still have a lot of other things to work on. So I think variety is good, but don't make it so drastically different that they don't complement each other. Because, if you're like, all right, we're going to learn popping today, and then you do some foundation technique, and then you work on like breaking the next week, but you don't tie them in, they're going to be like, okay, so why did we even do that? It's going to be one of those things. It's like, there's learning for the sake of learning, and then there's learning to improve. And I think they're different, but people look at them the same. I'm starting to not make sense. Let me backtrack a little bit. So I think explaining why you're doing something or explaining why you did something is a good place to start with figuring out your students. Because if they don't grasp something, you can ask them why. And that's going to help you as a teacher. And I feel like a lot of teachers don't explain to their students, hey, when I ask you questions, it's to help me learn, not just help you. It's to help me figure out a better way to explain it than it is for me to get what you're trying to say. Yeah. So it's one of those, let me hear why you're having a hard time, and so I can better help you fix it, or help you to fix it. I just looked possessed for a hot minute right there. But yeah, and Josh, especially, I'm always here, bro. If you ever want to hit me up and have questions about stuff like that, hit me up, bro. But I want to take this in a little bit of a different direction.
I pinned a comment. I don't know if it shows it on there. Yeah, it does. Whatever's like next, kind of.
I would say definitely a lot of people need to get the calm collective mind thing, because a lot of people don't take that into their everyday lives, which ends up being a problem for a lot of people. And I think, as Vatana was saying earlier, just being present, being there for someone can help someone improve that. And just being like, literally just that. Like, not even necessarily that literally, but like in like a spiritual sense and a mental sense, just being like, yep, I'm right here. I do it to people all the time. I'll just be like, because now he knows I'm here with him, It's more of a, I'm here with you, as opposed to I'm here, you're here, separately. It's, let's connect, let's feel, let's talk, as opposed to listen to me. And as a teacher, you never want to say that. You never want to be like, listen to me. Because then they're going to be like, fuck you, no. Most of the time. Especially when it comes to kids. You're going to be like, sit down, shut up, listen. And they're going to be like, eh. And then they're not going to engage in your class, which as a teacher, that's what you want, So, yeah, working with people that genuinely want to learn is a totally different story than working with random people that just get thrown in your class. It's a lot easier, in my opinion.
It's easier. I love the ones who do get randomly thrown in class, because they're the most challenging, and it's great.
Yeah.
It can be terrible sometimes, but it just depends on your mindset. They teach you a lot too.
Oh yeah.
But my opinion on the keep calm and collective mind and teaching them basics. I think that's good. Like, you teach what you feel like you have, and if there are certain things that you want, then just practice, and when you're ready to teach them, teach them. Or you could experiment a little bit. I do that. I'll teach things that I know, and then I experiment a little bit. So that's my quick opinion on that. Teaching kids that don't. That's fun.
It is fun in its own way.
Yeah, it's fun. It can be bad sometimes.
It can be really bad sometimes.
But
all right, so I'm gonna take this in a little bit of a different direction now.
Okay.
Going back to me. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean, this is your stream. This is just like more community.
Yeah, I know. If you guys have questions, always ask, even if it sounds stupid to you. Please, because those are usually the most intense ones. Where you're like, this is a stupid question, but it's like, no, that wasn't a stupid question. You just needed to understand, and I appreciate that. Speaking of that, I asked so many stupid questions in the past month, but I've learned so much because of it. Like, some people, when I ask questions, they look at me like, really? Like, you don't understand that? I'm like, no, I really don't. Please explain. And then they explain, and we catch a vibe, and it's like, they understand that I genuinely want to learn, and it just ignites some sort of something in them that they're like, wow, he's actually really listening to me. Holy shit. Like, it sounded like a stupid question, but he genuinely wants to learn this. And it just lights something in people. And it's fascinating. It's just fascinating to sit there and be like, wow, you're really passionate about this.
Yep. I love it.
Like, even if you have no idea what the hell they're saying, you're just like, wow, I'm so engaged with you right now. It's great.
Yeah.
You know? I did that with a few people recently, and it's been awesome in the true meaning of the word. It's left me in awe. Just sitting there being like, wow, you're incredible. Even if I have no idea what the hell they're talking about, which sometimes I don't, because I'm like, I literally don't speak the same language as you sometimes. Like, I talked to a woman that spoke Chinese as her first language, and she's been taking English for a year, and was like, yeah, I don't know how to say this. So we did Google Translate for a little bit, and because she just got so into it, I was like, here's my phone, use Google. And she did, and like, we had a conversation. We were in person still, but it was like, you could hear how they were saying it, and then you read what they actually said, and it's like, once you put them together, it's like, wow, I felt how you said that, but I have no idea what you said. But even just that is like, listening to people is so key. Preferably in person, like vocally, or like body language, which is why I'm here right now. Like, I texted him, I was like, hey, I'm on my way. He was like, you don't have to come in real life. And I was like, I know, but I am. And that's why, because body language is so important to me. And it tells you so much about someone. Not even necessarily like, yeah, my life story is blah, 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 but like, just how they're feeling, and like, what it is, what vibe they're in, what mood they're in, you know? And it's so important. People just don't pay attention to these things. Like, I could talk to Vitana like this for hours.
Yeah.
Like, and we would still have a good conversation, but it wouldn't be the same, you know, as talking to him like this. Just seeing him. First of all, he makes me laugh like crazy. But it's just, being with someone is totally different than talking to someone. And it's just really enlightening. You know, once you actually tune in and pay attention to things like that, it's just like a whole universe opens up that you had no idea about, and it's craziness to truly understand that.
It's the presence.
It is. It literally is the presence. It's this.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference.
That's exactly what it is. It's saying, you know, I'm here. I actually give a shit about what you're saying. You know, I'm listening to you, as opposed to like, yeah, you're talking. Whatever. You know, it really does make a huge difference. And now I'm going to read some comments. Don't tempt me. I have no clue what you're talking about. The music video is coming out after the stream. There'll be links everywhere. For those of you that have no idea what I'm talking about right now, I have a video coming out tonight. It is my second video project ever with Mike Keslak, aka 41st Casanova Productions.
I love that guy so much.
And Jerry Vincent, aka 41st Casanova Productions.
I haven't met him yet, but I know he's cool.
Aka GVP.
Yup.
He's also a really, really great guy. And yeah, just go watch it. Check my stuff out. It's gonna be all over my stuff. Yeah, that's this.
Okay.
See.
Okay.
I'm also watching on my phone. Yeah, that it's really near and dear to my heart. If you guys have no idea who I am, you will if you check it out by the end of tonight. And you'll know what I'm all about. And yeah, I just really suggest checking that out. But I
You have a thought?
more of a feeling.
Okay.
Give me a second. I need to pinpoint this
Okay.
real quick.
Makes sense.
Okay. So I love people genuinely, wholeheartedly, until you give me a reason not to. Okay? There's a few people in my life very recently that abandoned me when I needed
You just said abandoned.
them most. I did say that shit. And I went to them seeking something, and they kind of just dropped me where I was and didn't even like want to hear what I had to say. And one of them was someone who's very important to me. And that was super hard. And it kind of made me just like want to cut all ties with everyone and just like curl up in a ball.
You said cut all ties.
And I just kind of shut down for a day. Like, I didn't answer anyone. I woke up with like 7 text messages and like 3 Snapchats and like all these notifications, and I literally didn't acknowledge a single one of them. And it was really difficult, but it was also super eye-opening in the fact that it blew my mind how easily they could just up and leave. And I don't mean physically as in like...
Yeah.
But I mean just like mentally just cut me off in such a harsh way. And then I started thinking about it, and I was like, well, maybe it wasn't me. Maybe it's... I didn't even say, like, hey, man, like, what's going on? Like, how are you? I just kind of approached them, and I was like, hey, like, I really need someone to talk to. Like, can you just listen for a second? And they were like, nope, bye. And I was like, ouch, okay. And I never even stopped to think, being like, well, not everyone's like me. Not everyone's just like, I will drop everything to sit here and listen to you. And I went back into one of these people and I asked, I was like, hey, like, how are you? And she just broke down. Because we were in person, we were together.
Oh.
And I was just like, how are you? And she just hugged me and started crying. And I was like, damn. So you're struggling just as much as I am. And I didn't even care to ask. I didn't even think to ask. And I was just like, wow, I'm a shitty person. Because I was so absorbed in myself and my own issues and what was going on in my life that I had already shut people off, but I didn't even think about that. I didn't even notice that. Wasn't she in the stream?
You can't be calling me while I'm streaming,
Pretty sure she was in the stream.
Whatever.
But anyways, it's just be there for people. Like, it makes such a difference. It really does. And it'll make such a difference for you too. Like, people don't understand that being there for someone is one of the greatest feelings that you could ever have as a human. Like, knowing someone that wholeheartedly trusts you, that knows that they can come to you if they really need, is just... it's unfathomable. Like, you can't explain that with words. There's just no way. You could try. I'm sure you could try. But I'm not going to, because it's just an incredible feeling. But do it for people, don't do it for you. Because I did it for me, and it ends up sucking, because it loses the feeling eventually. But I just needed to say that.
Well, that's good. I think that's a good...
So feel free to continue with questions.
That's a good perspective.
And Latana, if you ever feel the need to speak.
Yeah.
Because I enjoy listening to you speak. Always.
That was a good perspective. I like that. I feel like people forget that. So that was good. Oh. Can't wait till I have a better setup for Facebook.
I can't wait till you have a better setup. Period.
Yeah. I can't wait.
In life. I'm also sweating, so like...
Banned.
I'm stupid. Banned. Immediately. Flag for nudity. Ugh. Guys, I love you all. I don't even know half of you guys, but probably more than half, actually.
Yeah.
But you're all beautiful.
Some people are just super quiet.
And human.
I have no idea who's in here.
Facts.
I wish I could find out.
Humans are humans, and is our first instinct to think about ourselves. True. But I think sometimes fighting instincts is when the real magic and the beautiful moments happen. I think a lot of times when we do focus on ourselves, it's not necessarily like selfishness. It's not necessarily something that it's like, I'm gonna do me and no one's gonna stop me. It's more of a, I'm just trying to survive at this point. It's more of like a self-preservation instinct than it is a selfishness. I think a lot of people don't understand that. Like when I sit here and I'm saying, I don't feel bad for you, it's because you're sitting here complaining to me about things you can control. Like my mom all the time, she complains about her weight all the time. And I'm like, well, move. I'm like, you sit up, you come up, you sit in your bed like all night, you don't move. Like, if it's really that bad, get up, move, gain some momentum, like go do something. Go for a walk for like 5 minutes. You got to start somewhere. And we talked about this in the podcast too. I think a lot of you guys will get some good stuff out of that, because I didn't have to like stop and sit and answer questions, but we just talked for like 2 hours. But a lot of that is still true. I mean, I think I don't feel bad for people. And he kind of had a perspective where he was like, wow, like I thought you were really empathetic, like maybe I was wrong. And I was like, no, I'm very empathetic. Like, I feel for you, but I don't feel bad for you anymore. I refuse to spend energy on pity, because it's not helping anyone. It's literally, and most of the time it makes someone feel worse, because you're like, oh, all these things are happening to me. And I'm like, no, they're happening for you. But they're like, it's like, oh, or like, okay, perfect example. Both of my leads for my video, which is coming out tonight, cough, cough. Both of my leads dropped out the Tuesday before the shoot. The shoot was on Saturday, and both of my leads dropped out the Tuesday before.
Nice.
This is the second time that my leads had dropped out, by the way. So I was stressing. I was like, oh my God, this is not going to happen. Like, blah, 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 all these things. And I was like, nah, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I was like, regardless of who shows up, if I had to do this by myself, I would do it by myself. Thankfully, I did not have to do that. Justin Sokin and Nalin Yim, y'all saved my lives. Thank you for that.
That's crazy.
And yes, I just said lives, improper grammar. My bad. But, I was going to people and I was like, hey, like, what are you doing Saturday? Both of my leads just dropped out for my video. And they're like, oh, that sucks. And I'm sitting here like, yeah, it does. Thanks for the reminder. And it made me feel worse. Because that's, that's sympathy. That's not empathy. It's not like, oh man, like what can I do? Or like, I'm here if you need something. That sucks. Wall. And then I'm sitting there like, damn, like, do you even give a shit? Because that's telling me that you don't. Where in like reality, I know a lot of people care about me, but they're like, they don't care about that situation. And it was one of those things where I'm like, I'm sitting there like, damn, no one even cares. But it's one of those things where, you sit there and you go, I could use my energy to have sympathy for you and say, oh, that sucks. Or I could tell you to get your shit together and look for another lead. You might be mad at me for that. But, like, which one's more helpful? You know what I mean? So it's one of those, you have to sit there and be like, okay, this person's coming to me with complaints and excuses. And I could be like, yeah, you're right, that sucks, and keep them in the same spot that they're at.
Yeah.
Or push them down even further, potentially.
That's not good.
Or I could say, okay, what can you do? I could question them. Question why they're sitting in the same spot and not moving forward. And make them think about it. Not even necessarily help them find an answer, but just make them think. Make them say to themselves, oh shit, why am I doing this? Like, it's not helping me. I'm using a lot of energy right now on this. What's the point? Why am I sitting here using my energy on the negative things when I could be putting this energy into looking for another lead, or bettering myself, or working out, or doing research, studying. Like, I'm wasting energy and there's no point to it. So just, you can help people by being honest with them. Just be honest with people. Oh, yeah. Because if you're lying to someone, if you're giving someone that sympathy, that oh, I feel bad for you, that's not helping them. And that's not helping you either. So better each other and say, okay, what can you do about it? Or what can I help you do about it? There's things that you can do to help people in situations like that don't require a ton of effort. Because as Vitana was saying earlier, people don't like to put in effort for things. And it's true. Mm-hmm. And I'm the same way, I get it. But there's things that don't take a lot of effort. Like really asking someone, how are you? How much effort does that take, realistically? How are you?
Not a lot. Hello, hi, I'm good, how are you?
And then and that's another thing, actually sitting there and genuinely giving a crap.
That matters too.
And listening to the response. Right?
Right.
Well, I guess that's probably your guys left, so.
I don't know. No.
I don't know. But the point is that I've realized a lot of times now, when I see people I know like out places, they'll be like, hey, how are you? And then they'll start walking away. And I'm like, a lot of times I don't even answer now, because I'm like, if you actually cared, you would have stopped for a second and tried to listen to what I had to say. So clearly you didn't actually care. There's a huge difference between saying, hey, hi there, and hey, how are you? And then just walking away. Because like, if I was like, hey, how's it going? Do you feel like listened to? Do you feel engaged in what I had to say? Because I wouldn't. It's one of those, you can say the same thing two different ways, and it affects people in huge differences. Sorry, the ADHD is fucking with me. It's one of those, I say that a lot. That's another thing, is understand what you're saying. Mm-hmm. Especially when you're talking about two people about things.
What YOU apostrophe RE saying?
Yes.
That was fun.
Alright, let's take some comments. For that video comment, BT Dubs.
Words until your intentions and actions give a genuine purpose. Yeet.
What happened?
No, Martin just said words are words until your intentions and actions give a genuine purpose.
Facts. And You don't even have to give purpose with your actions or your words. You can give purpose with your presence. Because when you say, oh yeah, I'll be there, give me the time and place, and you show up and you're not present, like you're not thinking about what's going on there at that moment. You're thinking about, okay, cool, I have to go to work after this. Gives a whole different kind of message as you showing up randomly, right? Didn't say, oh yeah, I'll be there, or anything like that. But you show up and you stand in the corner, but you're there, actually, you know? Gives a totally different message.
Latana knows all about my motto.
Who dat? Who is that?
Oh, that's Marnith.
Oh, Soda God.
Soda good. 69.
Alright.
I'm just interacting with both sides.
It's difficult.
While listening. Yeah, I get used to it. Sometimes I'm talking and then, or someone else is talking, and I try to stay listen and then see what's going on here. Oh, inspired them to eat better. Lost over 20 pounds, bro.
Who dat?
Josh. He said, my diet now consists of 85 to 90% organic and vegan foods, and he's lost over 20 pounds.
That's right.
Uh-huh.
That's right.
You gotta stay committed. Losing weight can be... Y'all can lose weight fast if you just make the right change-ups.
Facts. I've lost 7. And I didn't even cut anything out.
That's what's up.
I literally didn't cut anything out. I just started eating more fruit. And I've lost 7 pounds.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Literally.
I think Kevin, same thing. I think he cut a little bit, but he's also been eating more fruit. He lost a lot. I forgot how many pounds did you lose, Kevin?
He's still
He
here.
lost 7. Josh lost 20. Kevin, I'm not sure. All that weight since the convention, bro. I'm still trying to lose 1 pound. What? Sarah. Like 1 left? Like that's it?
No. Just like hasn't lost 1.
Backtrack to sympathy and empathy though. Yeah. Here's the thing. The thing with sympathy, I understand that the key to communication is understanding. I understand that understanding is important. So if somebody thrives off of sympathy, I'll start there and then I go like, and then I bring them up. It's important, you know, because sometimes if they've been conditioned that way, then you have to learn how to stoop to people's levels and frequencies to match them, so that it's like you have to go into their bubble first and then start bringing them up. So they got to make sure that you know that you understand that feeling bad for them is what they need right now, I guess, right? It's weird to put, but if life has taught me anything, it's that I don't completely rule out stuff. It's if I want to affect someone, then I have to know how to get to their level as best as I can. Like, I'm not saying like, the first thing I thought of was like depression. I don't have to be depressed, but I have to at least level with where they're at and try to communicate with them there and then try to uplift them from that place. Instead of being like, I'm up here, like climb. And that's one way, but that's not my style. For me, I love to give to others and feel for them and try to help them wholeheartedly. I'm pretty sure you meant wholeheartedly. But when it comes to myself, yes, I feel bad for myself, but at this point in time, I'm just saying what most people feel internally, which is it's whatever, or I don't really care anymore. Okay. Hold up. Let's see, the homies be saying, but I feel good at least. She's transferring from fat to muscle. Oh, that makes sense too. I lost over 10 the last 2 months and 70 pounds over the last year. What did you do? What's your secret, Nicholas? Guys, you need to move here. I wish we could move there. We have little kids. Yo, just be patient. Because y'all have like a deadline at some times, right? Like we can figure this out. So,
Nobody needs to move. But if you're gonna move,
and there's that.
Move up here, cause we're all up here.
I lost my 20 pounds in 2 months. Facts. Yeah, dude, that's amazing.
Hell yeah, man. That's good. But keep pushing.
Yeah,
because there's always more.
20 feet. Yeah, that's not. I mean, 20 feet. 20 pounds.
20 feet.
Any amount, and sustaining it is
consistency.
Yeah,
that's the hard part. Because you could do it, but remaining consistent is the most important part. But that's why it's also the most difficult. Because I could do some. I could be like, oh yeah, this is gonna be great for me, blah blah blah, and I could do it for like 2 weeks, and it works great. But then, I'd stop doing it for however long, and then it all comes back. So consistency is key, especially with things like weight loss. Like if you're not consistent with it, you're gonna be all over the map, and it's gonna train your body to be unhealthy, which is not a good thing.
Yeah, and usually people just put it back on. I think it's because people only like have short-term goals, or they just try to go on diets, versus like, I need you to understand that like if you're trying to lose something and sustain, that's a lifestyle choice. Not like I'm gonna do this, lose 20 pounds, and then return to what probably brought me there in the first place. You know what I mean? Like, and that's kind of the culture that we live in, and it's so sad. It's like, oh yeah, I'm eating this way so that I could. It's always the summer beach shit, and it's like, all right, and then the winter comes again, and it's like I drop it all off, and then you start up again in the spring, and it's like,
no, it's not how this works.
I mean, if you want to do that, like live your life, but
it's unhealthy for your body though.
That maintenance, you choose something, you stick to it. But most people are just in it. Most people are in it for the weight, and they don't recognize all the other things that can come with. I wish that was different. I sit and think about that a lot, where when people think about health and healthy and stuff, I always hear like when you look at bad food and junk food and stuff, like, oh, you're gonna get fat. That's the first thing that comes out of people's mouth. I'd be like, you're gonna get diseases, boy. You're gonna get headaches and constipation. Like, no one talks about that stuff. Probably because they don't recognize that there's a connection between...
Or they don't understand.
Yeah. So it's like, it's not just about getting fat. Like, that's probably like the least important thing. It's the fact that you're going to develop all these problems that you aren't aware of.
And the inside.
That comes first.
Inside comes out. It's the only way it works.
You're like, oh, it's okay. I'll have my cheat day and eat all of this garbage. Like, I'm just like... it's more than you probably gonna put on like a few pounds. It's way more than that. That's taking steps back, like for real. Like you eat mad clean, you have one hardcore cheat day. It's like, well, you kind of just we just went back a little bit,
ruined all your progress the past 2 weeks. And it's not even like you have to do it, wholeheartedly, or don't do it at all. It's like, no, just be consistent. Like, if you're gonna do it, do it. I know that I preach sometimes, being like, oh, like, all this stuff's bad for you, but, like, I eat it. I don't eat red meat anymore unless it's there and it's free, because I just don't turn down free food. Because that's a mindset thing that I'm still stuck in. But it's something that I have to break. And some of the difficulty about the whole eating healthy thing is that all the unhealthy stuff is so readily available for like cheap that it's easy to be like, well, I don't have the money for, that vegan meal that I get every other day, so let me just go to McDonald's. It's like, okay, I get the financial situation, but there's other options that you didn't even try to explore. You know, like,
That's
go
it.
get an apple.
Effort.
Go get a banana. 99 cents, 69 cents. Like, it's not... There's ways around things like that. It's not just one way or the other. You know, there's 1,000,010 different ways to do things like that. Like I said, I haven't cut anything out majorly. I just added in things that are good for me. And there are still days where I'll have like a bunch of fruit and I'll feel horrible the next day.
Yeah.
Because it's my body trying to get all that stuff out. And normally the people blame, I do it sometimes still too. I'm like, I just ate a pound of grapes and I'm crapping my brains out.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here like, it must be the grapes. And I'm like, no, the grapes are doing their job to clean my body out. And that's what people don't get a lot of times. They're like,
I don't understand that.
oh, I must be allergic to grapes because it's making me sick. It's like, no, it's healing you. And that's the difference. People think sickness is
Just not feeling well.
below healthy. It's your body trying to heal to become healthy. It's the process to healthiness. It's not a back step. It's a forward step, actually, most times. When it comes to health and diet and things like that, I mean, there's a whole nother level of that. But I literally just had, on my way here, like, I'm talking about, not cutting things out, just adding things in. So I'll give an example. On my way here, I had a choco pie, which, for those of you that don't know, is a marshmallow between two cookies covered in chocolate. After that, though, I had 2 apples. 2 apples. So, I... not canceled out, but I didn't just eat the choco pie. You know, I ate something bad for my body, and then I ate something good for my body, because I'm transitioning. Okay, it's not an overnight thing for most people. Most people don't just be like, yeah, I'm going to eat healthy. And then they snap their fingers, and they just drop all unhealthy things and eat all healthy stuff. For some people, it does work that way. And they do very well with it. I'm not one of those people. It's going to take me probably a long time to transition into a fully vegan diet. But I know once I get to that point that I will function at maximum level.
God.
And I see things that reinforce that information. You know, like I see people that eat that way that are doing very well for themselves and that's annoying the crap out of me and that are performing at maximum level. And I'm sitting here like, that could be me though.
Yeah.
So I'm working on that transition, and I'm all about transitions.
Same.
But for me, it's not, with the addiction, it's not an overnight thing. Like, I get physical sugar withdrawals. Literally. Like, on my way here, I had not had anything super sugary, like, in, 3 days, and I was shaking. Like this. Like, it's bad. But again, I don't have the willpower to just go cold turkey and not eat anything sugary, which is preventing my body from healing from that. So I can't cancel out the withdrawal symptoms with, simple sugars like apples, bananas, and such. But eventually, once I start getting to the point of, all right, I need more energy. I need more mental clarity.
Oh, yeah.
Once I get to that point,
Shit is real.
it's going to drop. I'm going to drop everything, and I'm going to sit at Pure Movement outside. I don't care if I have to sit there for 3 hours waiting for him.
Yeah.
I will sit there and be like, yo, I'm ready now.
We should just come in as a mob. Be like, we've been waiting for you.
Angel would be like, let's do it.
Yeah. So let's go.
He'd be so
right
down.
now.
He'd be so down. But I know that. And that was the thing. Last time that we had talked, I was like, nah, I'm ready. I'm doing this. But I wasn't actually ready. But I know now that I won't get to that point until I'm at that point. I'm not going to know until I'm there.
When you're there, dude.
Oh, when I'm there, it's gonna be a whole crazy transition. It's just gonna be so sudden. People are gonna be like, "Wait, what happened to you? You have so much energy. Like, what's going on? You're doing 9 million things." And I'm gonna be like, "Yep, I am." Move on to the next one.
Dude,
And it's gonna be awesome.
shit is a dream, bro.
But on a very real note, it's I know for a fact that I'm not prepared for it. But at the same time, I also say that ready is not a state of being, it's a decision.
Motherfucking said that. He fucking said that.
You can't sit here and wait to be ready, because then it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
You have to decide, I'm ready. Like,
Bless.
excuse me. Like with the whole, see, it's coming out. I told you, I have my pineapple juice. It's affecting me already. Like with the passport thing, I was waiting. I was like, nah, something's gonna come up, like overseas or something. I'm gonna be like, I really want to go to that. So I was waiting to get it until something like that happened. And I was like, yeah, but if I do it now, when that does happen, I can just be like, all right, plane ticket, I'm there. You know? So I decided to be ready. I was like, nah, you know what? I'm going to get my passport. I have the money. Why not? So I did. I went and I got it. And then an event popped up. Literally the same day. I applied, I turned in, paid for it, took the picture, which I look high as fuck in, but that's fine. I took the picture, I left, I was super excited about it. I went to a meeting immediately after, right across the street at Frobees. Shout out to Frobees. I had a meeting with Mike.
Killing it out there.
And it was about the video that's coming out today. Keep an eye on my stuff. And literally as I was sitting there in Frobees, a notification popped up. Somebody sent me a message, and I clicked on it, and it was a flyer for an event in Canada. And I went, holy shit, I just applied for my passport. Like, let's get it. And it was on a day that I couldn't go. But it opened up my eyes to looking for things like that. And I was like, maybe I can find other things that I could go to that are, you know, Montreal's like a 4-hour drive. Probably 2.5, 3 if I'm driving. But it's so close. You know, and I've been further away than that. But I need special permissions. And I was like, why haven't I done this already? Because I wasn't deciding to be ready. I was waiting, saying, oh, I'll be ready one day. You know, instead of saying, nah, I'm ready now. Let's do this. You know? Oh, I thought you were looking up Montreal.
No.
I was like, are you checking my facts right now?
No.
Anyways, decide to be ready, guys. Whatever you're waiting on doing, just decide. Decide to be ready. And say, yeah, now. Let's do this now. And it might not happen right away. whatever you decide to do might not happen right away. And it might not be like, cool, boom, something happens for you. You know, that might not happen. That might not be the case. But when you decide to be ready, things will happen for you. It might not be the things you wanted, but most of the time it's going to be the things that you needed.
You said that.
Because a lot of times in life, the things that you don't see and the things that you don't want are the things that you need the most. And when you get the things you need, you are put in a position to succeed. That's part of a poem, by the way. And I love that poem. And I don't remember who wrote it. But I'll find it for you guys and I'll post it in the comments. Anyways. When you decide, just decide to be ready, or decide to stop doing something that's bad for you, or decide to level up, step up your game, you know, decide to go to something that might help you, even if it's you know, some event. Like I went to a dance event a few weeks ago, and they were like, oh, like I wasn't expecting you to be here, like what are you doing here? This class is so random for you. And I was like, exactly, that's why I'm here, because I decided that I wanted to expand myself and I wanted to grow. And it was just some random class that didn't know who the teacher was. Like I knew one person that was there, but that doesn't matter, because I was there to learn and I was there to grow. And it was an awesome class, and I learned a lot. So you have the key to the locked door in front of you. Just open it. Like that's all you need to do. And if you need help doing that, look for people that can help you. Be around people that can help you. And you already know who those people are. Like, for me, Vatana is one of those people. Like he holds keys that I'm just like, hold this for a little bit. Hold that for a little bit. Give it to me when I'm ready. You know? And Jeff is another one. He's another big one where I'm just like, hold this for a second. Let me be ready. You know? And I have a lot of people like that. But you know who those people are. Even if like no one pops in your head directly, you know that there's someone that's like, that's that person. That's that person that I need to be around. Mm-hmm. Or that's that person that is going to help me grow. Mm-hmm. You know, there's always, everyone has someone. And you just need to decide to be ready. And you need to decide to take that first step. Once you take that first step, everything is just going to flood. And it's just going to be, a lot of times at first it's super overwhelming. Like right now I'm super overwhelmed with all the things that are happening for me. But I know that I'm going in the right direction because of the things that are happening to me. For me, sorry. I still do that sometimes. But I caught it.
Yeah.
But I caught it.
That's really good.
And that's another thing. Acknowledge your failings. Like, when you make a mistake, own up to that shit. People will respect you way more for owning up to your mistakes. And I know that from personal experience. Because I've fucked up some serious shit. And I was like, no, that was my fault. I'm sorry, it won't happen again. And people will recognize that. They'll be like, damn, he didn't even try to pass that on to somebody else. Like, he could have passed it on to that person or that person or that person. And it would have made sense, but like he didn't. He took responsibility. And people will recognize that. You know? People will understand that, damn, like, he's holding himself accountable. You know? People will understand that you're doing or you did something that you thought was right or at the time seemed okay to you. And in hindsight, it wasn't. And that's a totally different story, but they'll understand and they'll recognize what you were trying to do if you own up to it. If you don't, most of the time they'll just be like, oh, well, you messed up. Like, it's still your fault. And you're going to be like, no, but this person did. And they're going to be like, no, it's still your fault. Because passing off blame never works.
Nope.
Never, ever, ever works. But taking responsibility always works. Always. 10 out of 10 times. The show is about life.
Yeah, let's just, I'm a dedicate, because I probably don't know this person in real life. So, this show, I usually just do it on Sundays, but I had plans over Sunday, so I pushed it to Monday. And people usually come on half the time with something very specific that they want to talk about. It's usually really intense. Like last week, we had someone bash their family out, and it was wild. Another person was admitting to things and openly speaking on things and recognized that they couldn't do it without notes because they're not so great at just saying it off the top of their head. We've had people talk about the depression and overcoming stuff, failed relationships. But basically, it's just being super honest about whatever is currently going on with them, and or sharing some knowledge that they picked up along the way, or maybe they come here directly asking me for help. One of the homies is a full-time artist, a struggling full-time artist, and so they asked me for advice on marketing and what different tactics they can do, and so we talked about that for an hour. Some people just kind of come around to shoot the shits. But it's the community, honestly, that's been growing that really makes what's going on. So I'm streaming on here on Twitch. I'm also on Facebook. And so we have like 2 active chats sometimes, not all the time. But like today we've talked about food and the impact of that, losing 20, 30, 40 pounds.
70.
Being a good teacher, making different changes, experimenting on different things. And just really developing ourselves, honestly.
Living our best lives.
Yeah.
We're attempting to.
That's what we do here, and it's really fun. I've made some friends off of Twitch, which has been really tight. When some of them watch on Facebook, and it's just cool. Hold on, I'm jumping straight back into the stream because I have to keep like refreshing it or something. But yeah, it's a good time. And I just invite people on. So what I do is I release a schedule every 10th of the month, and there are usually 3 time slots. I'm still experimenting with times, and I'm looking to try and do twice a week instead of once, but we'll see. It depends on the demand. And we have just people sign up through Discord, and then I have them either come speak in real life if they want to, or obviously if you're a million miles away, we just do a Discord chat. And it's a really good time. It's really intimate here, heart to heart, growing, lots and lots of growing. Some people look for support systems, and so we offer that with the community and whatnot. This was a project, JS. I have no idea who this is. It's another new person. What are you talking about? What project? There was somebody else that I was answering. I don't even know if they're still in here. Some people just bounce real fast.
Is that Sarah? That might be Sarah.
Oh, singer Dorio?
That might be Sarah. To follow you. Because Josh was saying she's trying to.
Oh, on Twitch, but I can't find you. Lol.
Dang. Bad comments from the same 3 people.
Love this.
It's good though. That's good. People have things to say, man.
Yeah. This is Sarah, John's wife. Josh, I said John's. Just followed you on Twitch.
That's what I thought. I was right.
Okay. That's what's up. Yeah, so I don't know if you could tell, but when we speak into the mic, the audio is a lot clearer here. and the stream itself should be higher quality versus, because I'm streaming with my computer for Twitch and my phone for Facebook. I could like throw music in here and do lots of other fancy stuff, but I keep it pretty simple.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I don't know if you caught Julia D'Amico.
What?
Saying stuff to you.
Oh.
Said you're never on Facebook, Brendan, and like first she was like, he hasn't changed much, and I was like, nah, he's changed a lot. She's like, yeah, I can see that. But I think she just meant physically. But as a person, you've changed a lot.
Actually, I have changed physically a lot. I've lost 7 pounds. I've gained some muscle definition in my arms and my chest that you can't really tell because I'm wearing long sleeves.
Yeah, and so what else you can do is there should be a follow button somewhere, and it gives you like notifications and stuff.
It probably looks like a person.
Yeah, so I'm at 28, and you'll get notifications. I think I already said that. But do y'all have Amazon Prime? I can't do this yet, but this is important. I know a lot of my friends have Amazon Prime.
I don't.
Most people. Yeah, Amazon Prime.
I try not to buy things.
I don't. I currently don't have Amazon Prime for the first time in forever. Trying to save some money this year, and I'm not buying too much stuff either. If I do buy anything, it's digital books. So here's what's gonna happen, right? So in the future, when I hit 50 followers, because I've already have like a checklist that they have, so you can become an affiliate. So I just need 50, and so you'll be able to go from following to subscribing. And so what happens is when you subscribe to my account, you won't see ads, because sometimes you'll see advertisements play. You won't see ads, and then like if I make up a bunch of stuff, I can like give you extra things, whatever. It's like I don't know, subbing to me, there's like bonus stuff, but then that membership thing comes over to me, which is really dope. And that's just like a small like goal that I want for myself, because it's important. She loves Amazon. For me as a creator, right? So like I don't know how much you guys follow my stuff. I've been going off on Instagram all the time forever. No, not forever, but this year. I know you guys like just started picking up on the things that I'm doing, but my position, like, I mean, I know y'all came to the dance convention and stuff, right? That's part of what I do, but I'm really trying to take the internet extremely seriously, and I wish I took it more seriously a long time ago, and just build a career here so that I have the freedom to move where I need to move in order to pass on all the things that you guys have learned so far. You know what I mean? Like everything from you guys joining us on the stream and having these talks and doing what y'all do and making the improvements that you guys have had. Like I'm trying to bring those pieces of knowledge and that energy to people in the digital space and in real life. And so if I can build this high enough, then I'll have the freedom to move faster. And I have plans for it. And I know this is going to take a long time. But yeah, becoming an affiliate eventually on Twitch, and then you guys being able to sub to my account would be a step in that direction. Because your boy's trying to do this full time. I ain't trying to do this part time. I'm trying to do this full time. If you really believe in the things that I'm trying to bring to the table, that's why I'm trying to do it full time. I spent the weekend, I was hiking, but I was actually booked for a gig, right? And I was asked to go teach, and it wasn't dance. It was just to teach a sew session, which I do every once in a while, where I kind of just drop everything that I know about a particular subject and try to, figure people out, build a community there. So I did that over the weekend. It was so lit because it was my first time going to like Vermont, but then also being booked for an all expenses paid trip, and that's like a huge deal for me because it's like, dude, that's so crazy, like all expenses paid, so from housing to food, travel, right? So then that's paid for any of that, but then getting paid on top just to do a workshop for an hour. I wanted to go for like at least 2, but they only gave me an hour. Like I'm trying to do that and have this digital online thing and have stuff for people they can refer to. Like I don't know if y'all read my my blogs, but that's kind of like it's one of my favorite places where I store information. I try and share my personal experiences and tips and tools that I've developed that you can just look back at over and over. My favorite thing that I always like to talk about or just kind of brief over is I have a piece or a blog called a blog post entry called How to Successfully Execute Your Plan A, something like that. It takes a whole different approach on achieving what you want instead of the traditional method of ABC. Like if you go at it for this long and you fail, like that's kind of it. I instead go backwards and go CBA. And then I have another one like built like the 5 major keys to confidence. So I break down what confidence is and create a system on how to develop that confidence. So Josh, as a teacher, like if you're looking for information and like nuggets from me, if you just look through my blog and you'll find some pieces that will really help you as a teacher. Especially with the confidence one, you can take that system, practice it for yourself or see how it makes sense and then apply it to your students. Because I recognize that when people are like, how do I get self-esteem? How do I get confidence? People keep asking me the same questions. I really have to sit and think, and then I reverse engineer what it takes to get to a certain place by looking at my journey and other people's and then seeing the technical, like you need to do this and this and this and this, and it's like at that point you should achieve some sense of confidence in something. And a lot of people lack confidence in their ability to achieve because they're afraid a lot, or like, oh well, if I'm not in school, if I'm out of a job, like I'm screwed. It's like it doesn't work that way. The reason you feel that way is because you lack information in other areas. So a lot of the times I'll say that like if you don't have what is it exactly, like once you gain the information and the confidence in a field that you're interested in, like say, like you know, like dance or singing, just like you guys, the more you know about the industry and how things work, the more confidence you get, and it's so much easier to move forward instead of being like, I don't know what to do. Once you have that confidence, you can just move and not necessarily know what exactly your next step is, but you have the framework to achieve, even if you can't see what's in front of you. Katana, we will have many talks about many things in the near. Yeah, of course, man. Of course. I believe that 100%. You develop confidence through success, and success can only be valued in your own eyes. That's true. And as important as success is, I think it's important that we talk about failure, right? Because failure is extremely important, and most people still struggle with that when they don't realize, like, y'all need to fuck up a whole lot. That's where the experience is. Like, you need to know. Like, I didn't come into this game knowing everything from the jump. Like, you don't know how many things I did wrong, or the amount of no guidance that I had to then figure out. You know what I mean? Because like all of us, like when we start off with like these little pipe dreams of like, I want to do this and like be this big and be this person, when even at that level, like we don't actually have much to offer, but we try with what we do have to offer, and then we train at the same time. So it's like getting information and then experimenting and being like, well, this didn't work, or that taught me this, with whatever limited amount of experience that we have. Like when I first started teaching, it was just choreography, right? And what kept me going was the vision of what could come about this. So I enjoyed the art of dance and trying to build a community. That was the vision. So that's what pushed me. And then eventually it's like, oh, okay, like people don't execute the choreography the way that I want. Why? Is it because I suck as a teacher, or am I not explaining something well? And then it teaches me how to teach better. I was like, okay, it doesn't matter how dope my stuff is. If people don't understand it, it's like I need to get better at teaching. And the only way I can do that is by keep trying. And what brought people in the door was the product, the quality of my work. And the second thing was my personality, which was, I want this for you, not, yo, check me out, I'm nasty. Like, it was never about me showing off my work. I saved that for like the end. Like, here's my thing, my internet thing, and you can see it. It's like, oh, like I want to take his class. So, and that, I know that could help you, Josh, with like different things. Yeah, that was a little bit.
So, speaking of hours, It is now 9:35.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can wrap up now.
I don't know. I mean, if we have to.
I was trying to I thought I was gonna grab bubble tea. It's probably not gonna happen.
You were gonna what?
I was probably gonna grab bubble tea, but that's really not gonna happen.
Grab bubble tea?
Yeah, which is fine.
From where?
Cha time, which closes at 10. Assuming that it's open.
Can we call? Be like, yo, maybe bubble tea. I'm on my way.
They're gonna hate us. It closes at 10. So.
Where is it?
It's near egg roll.
Oh, that's easy. That's 2 minutes away.
Let's see.
So wrap this up and let's go. Yeah, do that. I have no idea what they have. Oh, is it that new one that
I
is
love you.
in between egg roll and soupas?
I skipped my college assignment for you
snap.
guys. Just saying, do you guys see the love? Oh, she skipped her college assignment for us. Okay,
Focus on your goals.
Hold on. So I like to dissect things, like a statement like that. That sounds so simple, oh my god, I love you too, right? And hey, stay in school, or yeah, fuck school, right? I different opinions, whatever. But what that tells me at the very core, right, is that as a collective right now, we were able to bring something to the table that you felt was more important than what you had to do. Mm-hmm. At the very, very, even if you consider this a distraction, that's still a sign that you can learn from. When you talk about being a good person, friends, products, services, art, and offering. So I was able to compete with your assignment. So I took the attention, and you guys will understand, and Josh and all y'all for marketing and stuff, right? The most important asset is attention, and if you can get people's attention, you can do anything. So I was able to steal attention away from an assignment, and that's pretty baller. Do this all night.
I just have to go to work tonight. That's fine. No big deal.
Alright, I'm gonna try and call. Let me get their number.
What do they have, man?
I don't know. I just know they can have bubble tea, and I've never been there.
Oh, snap! I'm hungry.
Yeah, a little bit.
No, I'm really hungry. All I had to eat today was that choco pie and those apples.
I don't know what else there is to eat around here.
That's open.
I know there's stuff around here. I just don't know what.
Good. Don't let yourself be distracted from what you want to do. Goals. Life. I'm also really tired.
That's good. That's a good mindset. That's very healthy. I don't know what their number is. What the fuck?
That's weird. I just commented on the stream. That's weird.
I've been doing that. What time do you work? 11? Or
I work whenever the guy gets there.
Which is typically
around midnight or 1. I don't even know if I have to work tonight.
Oh, this is not the right.
Yep, I do. Okay. Good to know. Good to know.
No, I appreciate that. So yeah, we're just gonna bounce.
Also have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, we gotta figure stuff out because we're trying to eat.
Trying to stay fed, y'all.
I know Julia said I should tell you something, Brendan. I don't know what that. Oh, okay. Yeah, so thanks to all the homies for streaming, checking in, joining us. I'm gonna stream Sunday. And remember, I dropped the schedule on the 10th, 12 a.m.
That's right.
So
I was there.
Yeah, he was 12 a.m. sharp. If you're trying to book a session with me for November, because October is already filled, do that.
I'll be on there again.
I really want to go to at least 2 days and extend the times and stuff, but I need to experiment with which days. I know today is a holiday, so I can't get accurate numbers and stuff, but I haven't been below 6. That's a record. usually my average is like 3 or 4. And then it fluctuates up and down to like 12. But it's just from a marketing whatever, and just to know when all the like people are available. But today, I don't know. We'll see. So maybe I'm not sure what day. But okay, love y'all. See you soon, hopefully. We're trying to hike, so like let's do this hike.
Hey, let's get it.
Yeah, I can't find the phone number to this place. They have no contact information, so that doesn't help. Let's peace. So I'm gonna end this one.
Bye.
Ending live. Done. That was a nice 2-hour something session. People can check in on, and then we'll get off of Twitch. Boom.